guys, what's up? Today I'm going to be doing a book review on They Both Die at the End by Silvera. This book was the September Book of the Month pick for our new book club called Diverse City. Myself, Maria from Serious Reading, Liv from Live with Books, and Nicole from A Lover of Books have collectively decided to start a book club that highlights diversity in many different ways in YA novels. And we decided for our first book we would pick They Both Die at the End because it deals with the LGBTQIA+ category. They Both Die at the End is a YA contemporary, and it's set in a world sometime in the future where there's a company called Deathcast, and they call you to alert you that you will be dying within the next 24 hours. And so we follow two main characters, Mateo and Rufus, who have received the call within minutes from each other, and they both lead very, very different lives. Mateo is very guarded, and he never really got to experience the outside world in the way that he had hoped to before dying. And Rufus is an orphan, and he has a very tough exterior, and shortly before getting the call, he was beating up his ex-girlfriend's new boyfriend. So you can see how their personalities differ. And they meet through an app called Last Friend, where Deckers, as they call the people who have been contacted by Deathcast, can meet each other and spend their last day together. And so they met each other, and this book just follows their journey. I rated this book 3.5 out of 5 stars. I thoroughly enjoyed it, although there were certain parts that I found that were sort of boring to me and it didn't really hold my interest. The second half of the book is really where I was so invested, and that's why I raised it that 0.5 stars, but I really enjoyed it. First of all, I have to talk about this cover. At first, when you look at it, you think it's beautiful, but you don't really see much. But I noticed this whilst I was reading this book when the dust jacket was sitting on my desk. But if you look here, these two shadows are meant to be Rufus and Mateo, right? And so if you look here, just like at a quick glance, you would think it's their shadows, you know? But actually, it's the shadow of death with his scythe. How cool is that? That is so creative and so subtle, and it really does convey the entire plot of this book, because the entire time in the back of their head they're thinking about death chasing them and how they're gonna die, and they have all these near-death experiences. And oh my god, this cover is amazing. I love it. And the art on the inside, like, can we take a moment to appreciate that? That is so beautiful. Publishers need to give us more books like these. This was the first novel that I have read from Silvera. Concerning the writing style, it was really nothing special to me. It was standard contemporary writing style, which I did enjoy. However, Rufus's character had a different dialect than Mateo or anyone else in the book, and he was using a lot of slang, saying yo. In our discussion in the Diversity Book Club, we continue to point out that Rufus tended to say the word mad a lot in terms of using it as slang, saying, for example, he said this mad times, and it did get on my nerves a little bit. I came from a high school that used a lot of slang, and even it annoyed me a little bit how much he used it. But I do understand, because that's the way he was raised. He was raised on the streets, he was raised to be tough, and that was a way of conveying that. So I thought that that was really interesting. You don't seem to see dialects like that in books very often. I loved Mateo as a character. I found him really relatable in terms of having certain regrets about the way he's lived his life, especially now knowing that he is about to die. I liked the quirkiness about him. He was very awkward, but it was very cute. Rufus had to grow on me a little bit. I know that it was the same case for everyone else I read this book with. I know that people had varying opinions on this, but I actually enjoyed the multiple points of view that were given in the book. If you have not read this book, this is not really a spoiler, but the second, third, and fourth parts are told in multiple points of view from multiple people in this community, such as Mateo's best friend, a couple people from Deathcast, some employees, just giving insight into their lives, which is something that I thought was really unique. I loved it. It kind of brought the story together, and a lot more things made sense. A lot of it was left open-ended, but if you connected all the dots, it made sense. But it was so weird because you can connect the dots in so many different ways, and that was really great to me. Speaking of Lydia, I really loved her as a character. I feel like she was my favorite, even over Mateo or Rufus, just because her story was so tragic. I felt so bad for her. I really felt for her. but the way that she's dealing with it is just amazing, and she's just such a strong female character in my opinion, still taking care of her daughter, still maintaining a friendship, and it's just, I really liked her, and her personality was so real, and I just really enjoyed her as a character. I think that this is the point in the video where if you have not read They Both Die at the End by Adam Silvera, you should click out, just because I'm going to be getting into some of my very spoilery thoughts. Can we just start by saying that Peck is such a ruthless character, and I hated reading about him. Like, the animosity just filled up. Like, oh my god, I hated him from the beginning when he called the cops on Rufus. Like, that was ridiculous. The guy was going to die within 24 hours, and then he makes this big plot to kill Rufus. Like, I just don't understand. I knew it wasn't going to work, but I was happy about it. It wasn't like I was upset that it was predictable. He's so ruthless, and I feel like he doesn't think before he makes his decisions, but I feel like his character really balanced out all of the characters that I loved in the story, so it was a really nice balance. I just really didn't like that guy. I really enjoyed Mateo and Rufus's relationship. It was so cute. The way that it progressed was actually really well done considering this book was taking place in less than 24 hours. I really liked that their friendship went from nothing at all to having so much trust in each other. It was almost like they were meant to be. I really enjoyed that Rufus let Mateo take incentive in starting the relationship, even though Rufus wanted to. He knew that it was really important for Mateo to do it, and I think that it really did change Mateo's character a lot, even though it happened towards the end of the book. And that really helps his character evolve, and they are so cute together. Can I just say that? Like, I shipped them from part 1 before they even met. Like, I knew that opposites were going to attract, and they did, and it was amazing, and I was squealing, and it was so hard to contain myself during those adorable moments. It was just... and it made me so sad at the end when Mateo died, and it was just, oh my god. It was so good, but it was so heartbreaking. And how the story wraps up, I don't think it wrapped up. Honestly, I really wish that Rufus's story was complete. It showed how he died. However, Nicole from A Lover of Books was kind enough to inform me that she thinks that Adam Silvera was insinuating that when Rufus crossed the street at the end and the whole thing was there was no arm to pull him back, that Victor, on his way to see Delilah, finding out that she got the call and she was about to die and all that stuff, hit Rufus with the car. And that totally didn't click in my mind, and that's why I really love the multiple perspectives, because it lets you kind of connect the pieces in your own little way. However, I just wish that there was a definite end, and I wish that there was a definite end to Delilah and Victor's story, because I was so invested in it. However, I found it so sweet that Rufus wrote down his Instagram name and that little note from Mateo's father. I was really clutching onto hope that he would wake up, but I knew that that was impossible and it wasn't going to happen. As for Mateo's death, I was underwhelmed with it, and it's not that it wasn't sad or emotional or anything like that. Like, I was tearing up, but personally for me, I was just kind of underwhelmed with it. I wish he had more thoughts, even though I guess that it signified that he was satisfied with his end day with Rufus and kind of getting to experience life all in one day. However, I just really wish that he had more thoughts, just because I really loved Mateo, and honestly, I really did think that Rufus was going to be the one to die. I really wasn't counting on both of them dying within the plot of the physical story, but I really thought it was going to be Rufus when Peck was making that whole shenanigan to kill Rufus. The way that he died it just made me feel so disappointed in him. Like, he lit up the burner, and I don't even know what fully happened. I just know that there was a fire and he died from the heat, and it was very emotional for Rufus to see Mateo like that, and it did tug at my heartstrings. I honestly did blow through parts 3 and 4 in one night, so I was like up till 2 a.m. reading it. For some reason, I just kind of felt like it wasn't all that it was made up to be, considering the whole concept around this book was death. However, I do know that Adam Silvera's whole point and the whole point of the story isn't about the part where they die, but about how they lived and the way that they spent their end day, which I think was very sweet. I just kind of expected more out of the ending, even though it was sweet in terms of action-wise and in terms of how it wrapped up. I was expecting more. I'm just gonna read the 3 quotes that I really loved from specifically part 4, and Nicole was the one who put all 3 of these quotes on the discussion board, so I have to give her credit for that. But they are, quote, "to smiling while we can," unquote. Quote, "I kissed the guy who brought me to life on the day we're going to die," unquote. And finally, quote, "It'll be game over, but we won first," unquote. I don't know about you guys, but that, especially that first and second one, it just kind of puts life in perspective for you, and especially for me, someone who kind of can't do that. I can't really put everything into perspective as well as I'd like to. And it's just something that really makes you think, and this whole novel serves such a great purpose of just thinking about, what is life really worth? You know, do you really want to save all your regrets for your last day on earth? You never know what's going to happen, and that's what I took away from this book, and I think that the message was amazing. So guys, that was my review of They Both Die at the End by Adam Silvera. I will be leaving information on this book and the Diversity Book Club information in the description down below. I hope you guys enjoyed watching. Please comment, rate, subscribe, and all that other great stuff. I'll see you guys in another video. Bye!